The PL Show is brought to you by Kel Chaco, Kel 360, and Kel Kids Toothpaste.
There you are. I'm glad I could catch you on another episode of the Kel Toothpaste PL Show. Today is the discovery episode of the PL Show, and we'll be bringing you some phenomenal ladies who are doing wonderful in their line of businesses. First, we'd have a young lady. She's not only a student, she's a television host, she's a philanthropist, she's an actress, and she's a writer. And in this episode also, we'll bring you the story of the woman who's making it all possible for us here at the Kel Toothpaste PL Show. She's the woman who takes care of us and takes care of you at home as long as you're using the Kel Toothpaste brands. Believe me, you're in for a ride on this episode. My name is Keminni, Amanor, and you're watching the Kel Toothpaste PL Show, brought to you by the Kel Toothpaste brands, Kel 360, Kel Kids, and Kel Chaco Toothpaste. Kel, happy smile. I'll be right back.
Mommy.
Michelle say, fe. Yum.
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Kel Chaco Toothpaste. Healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Kel Chaco Toothpaste. Sankofa.
Yenchi, Kel Chaco Toothpaste.
Happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back. This is the Kel Toothpaste PL Show. My name is Keminni Amanor. Today we are meeting two wonderful women who have been doing great things for themselves. And my first guest is Bless Fortune. Bless, thank you for coming on the PL Show.
Thanks for having me.
You are so young and you've done so many wonderful things for yourself. Yeah. You're a television host. Now I feel like you want to take my job.
No.
But I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You're also a writer and then you're an actress. Yeah. So tell us about that.
I always knew what I wanted as a child. I watched TV that mimicked the characters and all that, and I was good at it. And I made people laugh. I thought I'd be a comedian actually, but I'm not that funny.
So you tell us a joke. Or it'll be too dry, we can't laugh.
You know? So I started acting at church. I joined church drama as little as 6, 8 there. I went to JSS. I was doing the same thing. And I was joined my school drama for school competition and all that. And we won and all that. And I went to SS until someone saw me one day in my school. He was a senior then. He's like, you look like one actress in Nigeria. And when you act like her. And I'm like, who's that? Then they showed me a video of Mercy Johnson. Then she used to barb her hair.
Oh, yeah.
And the resemblance, I was like, okay, I think this is me in an older version. So that is where that thing hits me. I'm like, I think I can do this professionally if there's someone who looks like me, because then it was all about the light-skinned people, you know, and I'm very dark. So if someone, I can see myself like in another person doing this, I think I can do it. So I decided to take acting serious, but I've always wanted to be a human rights activist lawyer, which I'm still in school doing my best to pursue that dream because I want to be there for the people.
I do realize that you do a lot of things. How do you juggle? You've got school, you've got, acting to do, you write as well. How do you juggle that?
The way I grew up is quite tough. My mom had to take care of 5 of us, and she's the only woman, so she taught us how to multitask. As a woman, you have to learn how to, you have to make your own money. You don't need a man to make you the woman you are. God has blessed you with giftings and talents, so you have to make good use of them. You don't have to be lazy. Yes, there are days you get tired, but you have to. My writing started when I don't know, my mom has been so busy, we don't know how to talk to her, we don't know how to, share our emotions with her. So the best place I'm able to express myself is writing. So I don't like people reading my work because that's where the true me is found. So I put my emotions, my pain, my joy. I write like I'm talking to someone.
Okay.
That's when I realized that I could write like I'm good at writing. Then I went to SS, I joined the drama troupe. I directed most of our drama. then I learned so much from my drama director then, Mr. Kwesi Yankee. Then when I came out from school, I joined stage. It was not really big, but I do Lego, NAFT sometimes.
What inspires you to write?
My mom taking care of 5 of us. She's a busy woman. She's constantly going up and down to make sure we're good because home is not good at all. So we didn't have the time to talk to her, you know, share emotions with her, you know, all those petty things. So that's how I realized, like, why don't I put it in writing? It's the only place I could be myself without anybody trying to interrupt me when I'm trying to talk. So that's where writing started for me.
At what point did you move from the young girl who's writing out her thoughts to writing professionally?
People realize I could write when I speak to them. So sometimes they share script and we're like, okay, I want you to go through the script and see what you think. And sometimes I'm like, I feel the story is great, but I feel there's no soul to the story.
Right.
Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? So I started getting, why don't you start writing? Because you're good at writing. So I started writing when I started attending GIJ professionally. I was sleeping one day when I felt someone woke me up to write. Then when I start writing, everything I started writing started happening in my life, and they were quite negative.
Interesting.
So I left that script, and I'm like, if I can predict my life, I think it should be positive. But I didn't have the energy to write in that direction. But now I believe it was divine. God was actually telling me to prepare for what was coming in my life.
When you say that a script should have soul, how should we understand it? Those of us who don't, you know, write or do film.
Okay, the point is that as an actor and as a writer, you should make sure you take your audience to an emotional journey. They must feel whatever you're feeling at every point in time. You should be able to read my scripts and cry, because there are moments when I was writing God is Africa that I broke down, so I left the script.
Right, you wrote that story.
Yes.
Congratulations. That's a huge one with Pascal, right?
Thank you. Okay, he actually brought up the story. And
So the concept is a Pascal
yes,
concept.
it is for him. It is for him. But when he gave me the opportunity to work on the script, because first someone was writing and he was not feeling it, so he's like, I know you're an emotional writer and I want you to read the script and tell me what you noticed. So when I read, I'm like, I just feel the script is empty, there's no essence. And he's like, that's the point. I want you to fill that gap. So when I started writing for that, like 2 weeks, I was depressed. So the moment I wept and I left the script and I came back to it, and it's amazing how in the cinemas, people got that moment, the moments where I broke down, they broke down. And that is what the soul means. You have to feel what you're feeling at every point in time, even as the actor.
I haven't seen the film yet, but I've seen people's response to the film, and obviously it's apparent that soul is there, that emotion that you're letting us in right now is there. But what I want to find out from you is, what depths do you go to draw out that emotion on a personal level for you? How far do you dig within yourself for that?
I dig really deep. I go deep within myself, because to me, this acting fraternity is not just showbiz, it's not just fun. We are just like the preachers, like you, hosting a show like this. We're supposed to send a message to the world at the end of the day, because I believe on that day of judgment, to me as a Christian, God is not going to ask us just about sin. He's going to ask you about the purpose, the giftings He has given to you. How did you impact life? So the response I want to get when people watch something like, oh God, when I watched this film, my life changed. Why? Someone even asked me, was it based on a true life story? Because they could relate to it.
How long did it take you to put the script together?
For me, after he gave it to me, it was 2 weeks. Then I gave it to him to do the final editing.
Right.
Yeah.
You also told us earlier when you were writing that script, and I didn't mean for this to be about God is African, but it's a powerful film.
That's good. It's amazing.
And you tell us that you were even depressed. Is that the first time you are encountering depression with the script you're writing?
No.
Okay, so talk to us about your emotional roller coaster when you're writing.
When it comes to artists like myself, it is crazy for us. We're not normal people. Most actors, writers, painters, anybody who's in the art industry has a little bit of bipolar, or it's a psychopath in a positive way, because that's the only way we don't think like the normal people. That's the only way we leave this world. Even we are here, our mind travels so far because we need to get things that are not in existence as if they were. So that's the only way we can even tell stories ahead, because before it even happens to someone. So depression is not a good thing, but it's part of me as an artist, because even on Inside Out set, I got depressed because I had to be switching roles, switching characters, playing people that are not you. Just like you are embodying or you are accepting spirits that are not you, and you have to make it look like the person. So depression is part of every artist, especially as a writer. That's how most actors, writers, anybody in art has an addiction. It's either they smoke, it's either they do something, because that's the only way.
So what's your addiction?
I'm a sleeper. I love to sleep a lot. If there's any word like a sleeper, I just love to sleep. That's the only way I escape the physical world.
Right.
That's the only way. The world doesn't exist to me at every point.
Tell me about how you switch between roles as a person, because I don't think that you have played the same role.
No.
Yes. How do you do it?
I don't even know how I do it. I just do me, and I think God does the rest. When I say this, people think I'm being so creepy. It's not true, because looking at where I'm coming from and me eventually discovering my purpose in life, I've noticed that there's nothing I do that is not Him. I do this job and someone sees it, like someone saw one of my clips on Inside Out. That's how come I landed a role with New York Film School to do a short film for them.
Right.
And it's crazy. So sometimes I just get inspired and I do things. My short film I did for one UK producer, Arachne. It was because I decided to take a picture with an African prince hair wrap randomly. And that was the picture that attracted him even before he came to Ghana. So I just sit there and I hear voices and I just follow it. It sounds weird.
I know, but
it's-
I understand what you're saying, that you found yourself spiritually and you're manifesting it to us. But at your young age, for a lot of people who are your age, they're still trying to figure out how to live their lives and what they are destined to do. But you are sitting here and you're telling us, look, I have found my purpose and I'm living my purpose. How did you do that?
Like I said, I just hear voices do this, like the way I just dropped off from school. I decided not to go to school. People complain, like, you're a very intelligent student, you make good grades, like you're smart. Why are you leaving school? But I've realized that when God gives you an assignment, it wasn't a conference call.
Right.
So yes, it sounded crazy to my mom.
You got the call alone, right?
Yes, it was me. I didn't need to understand the process. I just need to know in my heart that this is what I'm meant to be. And when I decided after my service, okay, I think I want to hold on a bit with school. My career took off. I met Pascal. Then I was homeless. That was in 2019, 2020. I was homeless. I had to live with friends and all that. It was a bit frustrating. But this is what God told me. And yeah, it didn't make sense to anybody, but I'm glad I followed it.
You've talked about your intuition, that, I hear these voices and I follow them. God speaks with me. How important is, in terms of what you do, what role does religion, spirituality play for you?
It plays 99.99 in my life, because to me, this is what I believe. The world is beautiful and everybody is big enough for everybody to win. But the point is, why are we here? That's where I started from. Why am I even existing? Am I just born in this world? Then the same God who brought me said I shouldn't do something. And when I sin, I'll go back to hell. It's confusing. By the end of the day, I realized that I'm here for a purpose. I'm here for a reason. So why don't I do just that? And when it's time for me to go, I can go. And the reason why I was yearning to find my purpose was because I didn't want to die with regrets. And one person that actually helped me find my purpose, which I don't even know how he did it or how I was able to fall into that place, was Pascal Amanor.
Right. Are you considering perhaps taking up some ministration role in terms of being a spiritual leader,
I think I'm already doing that in the acting field.
Okay.
My career just took off, so there's more I'm going to give to the world through my craft, through my writings, through my giftings, because we can all not stand on the pulpit and preach. We can all take demons out of people, but we can change lives. And I believe this fraternity is a ministry on its own.
Right. Right.
So God has given me a platform. How am I going to use it? How am I going to change the world? At the end of the day, the same way you go to church, you feel after preaching. It's the same way you should feel after watching a film of mine, whether I wrote, directed, or acted in it. I think I'm already existing in that field, if that's how you want to call it. But
That's-
I don't think I'll be in a puppet. It's not an easy job. but I don't know. I don't know what the future
profound
holds.
what you've just said, that I'm not on the pulpit, but for my crafts, when you watch
Yeah.
me in whatever area I have, done work, you should relate to me on a spiritual
Exactly.
level. That's quite profound for me. But it hasn't been an easy journey for you. You talk about being homeless. Take us through your brokenness. What happened when you were at that lowest level?
I think I've always been at my lowest level growing up as a child, because the very first person that actually broke my heart was my father.
What happened?
The very first time I saw my father, I think I was in GSS, and this man came, and I didn't know him, but I'm a photocopy of him. And then my biological name, my mom gave me was Fortune, so that's what he knew. So when he came to the school and Dad added bless to my name, he was like, I'm looking for Juliana Fortune. And then Juliana was my very best friend, and Daddy, she didn't come to school. So they showed the man to me, and he came and he's like, I'm looking for Juliana Fortune. And the first thing I heard was Juliana. So I just went straight, oh, Juliana is not around, I'm her friend, you can tell me whatever. I'm very chatty. I'm very, very chatty. So he kept looking at me and he's like, are you Fortune? I'm like, oh, Juliana told you about me? Yeah, I'm her best friend. I still didn't even know to tell my dad. Then a teacher passed by. Apparently they know each other. My dad has base in the state. That's what I know. And the teacher was like, Adam, this kid, now I'm seeing the resemblance. Is that Anita's child? That struck me. Then I knew that was my father, so I stormed off. I was crying, I was weeping. And then I was a brilliant student, but I was a poor kid. I couldn't pay for my studies fee. I couldn't pay for my books. Even though I had some bits of scholarship, teachers will harass me, insult me in school. Yet I'll mark their papers, I'll make their lesson notes and all that. So there was this teacher, Mrs. Akafia. I don't know where she is now, but she was an amazing person to me. She insulted me the most and loved me the most. So they came to tell her that I was crying, and she went to see my dad, and they spoke. So I think the next day, my dad came to the school and told me that I should pick some of my clothes. She wants to take me away. I'm like, I don't know you. Why do you want me to follow you? You should see my mom if you want to take care of my dad. And he says something that your mother is poor. She can take care of you. You don't need to tell her I'm taking you away. We'll just go. Then I looked him in the eyes and I said, I'd rather die with my poor mom than go anywhere with a stranger. And the man left. And for weeks, I never heard from him. One day, my teacher called me and be like, so you just want to take your daughter away, blah, 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 blah. And he says something, and I quote, he said, I don't have a daughter called Fortune. That moment, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
That moment, I feel like a dagger was pushed into my chest, and now I understood why he was never part of our life. My mom has not been the best mom. I've gone through the worst things in her hands, but as I grew up, I got to understand that she did all she did because she has so much pain in her heart from the very man. And that because I look like him, she carried everything on me. But I love her, and now I would move the world for that woman. I would move the world for her. So I think I rented the place as painters were leaving. Then, thank you. We were leaving. Our rent expired. There was no help from anywhere. So in 2019, my mom and I became homeless. She had to move to the family house with my kid sisters, and I just had to, find a place because I was doing my service then. And
How did your story change? Because you moved from homeless to being the girl who, wrote the Goddess African story.
I think I was still doing my service, and there was this guy. He's a PM. He's called Gabby. God bless him. God bless Gabby. I was in the office one day when I missed the call, so I quickly called him back, and he's like, oh, bless, there's this role that... It was the first time I was going to work with Pascal, that we had to do with Pascal, and they've auditioned, but they're not finding the character, and I think you fit the character, even though Pascal is not sure. Because Pascal knew me as a model. I used to model. That's how I support myself with a little money. But I want you to do it. It's not paying. But I said, I'm in. If it's Pascal, I'm in. For some funny, I've always wanted to meet him, but I was scared. So anytime he hosts auditions, I don't go. Even though people told me I was good. Then I went on the set, and he saw me, he's like, it's a bless, you've gained weight. I know you as a model. I didn't know you act. I'm like, I act. Modeling is just for, And I played my first scene, and he's like, He didn't say a word. Then he wrote a bunch. He kept writing for me on set. And I think God blessed me with that gift. I'm able to memorize scripts within the shortest possible time. Then I did, and he didn't say anything. Then I posted the job, and I tagged him. I was grateful for, and he came to comment under my post. You are my biggest revelation this year, and that meant so much to me. Then we just went on with our daily lives. Then one day I was just there, he texted me and said, okay, there's an audition at DSTV, I want you to attend. Your name just came in mind, I just felt that you had to be here. Then I came, the lady was in charge, wanted me to enter, it was a whole back and forth. So I came back in the evening. And honestly that day I had to borrow money to be at the audition. I had to borrow 20 cedis to come to the audition because I was broke. But the respect I had for him, and I had a good feeling about it. So I went to audition. And you're like, where have you been? We're about closing in your ears. I had to explain myself. I auditioned, I think 4 times or 5 times that evening. Then we left, and that was the last time I heard from them. Then I think 2 months after, I was called. I was at Committee 1 Market Tema. I sell thrift photos, so I took some photos to some people to sell with my kid's sister. And
You still do that?
yeah, I do it. I still do that. And my line producer called me, Jifa. She's like, oh, bless fortune, congratulations. You're playing the lead of a series. And I freaked out. So,
Would you consider that big role your life-changing moment?
yes. That role changed my life drastically. Then, after a week, we were called and said that, oh, they are no more doing that film. The script is so big, so they dissolved the page. And I was heartbroken, but I was so hopeful. Then, immediately a week, she created a group again and said, we are doing a series called Inside Out, and you're still playing the lead.
Right.
And I remember she telling me that there are lots of people fighting. They said I didn't have followers on Instagram. Others said I was too dark. Others said I've not done anything big before. But the question is, if they don't give the person the opportunity, how would you know the person is good? And she said something. She said, in the room where everybody was bombarding you, Pascal was very quiet. But I knew something was speaking for you, Grace. That don't leave God. They said nobody knew you. Even those who were hating didn't know you, but something was speaking for you. So when they took my pictures in South Africa, because South Africa DSTV confirms the cast, when they saw my picture, they're like, this is the cast we wanted. So I remember the nights before the set, which was on the 5th of January in 2021, my line producer and the producers, they called me on a conference call and said, we are betting on you. You can't disappoint us. I said, I give my 100%. She said she give away 150%.
And you did?
I think I gave them more than. I gave them more than. And that has been my biggest role, my biggest job. And I'm grateful to God.
Talk to us about why you decided to go back to school. I mean, you have your whole acting and writing career to worry about, and you've just made your biggest role. And, you know, it's a Pan-African show. You've written a film that is emotionally torturing all of us in a good way.
Yeah.
In a good way. Why school? Why is school important to you?
Like I said, when I hear it's time, I go. I don't care who says what.
So what are you studying in school?
Right now, I'm doing communication, which I did a bit of psychology in it. I'm doing sociology, African diaspora. I'm just trying to understand every bit of life, because that's the only way I can be a better artist and give to the world. But I'll be majoring in film, visual communication in 300 and 400, so I can proudly say, okay, I'm good, right? I'm a good writer, I write professional, I do this, even though I already do that. So I just heard it, it's time, go back to school.
You talked about Pascal being one of the most influential people in your lives. Now, we've heard about the importance of keeping mentors and creating that network. What we haven't heard so much about is how to nurture that network.
Exactly.
Now, tell us about how you do it.
No matter how close I am with you, I would never want to get familiar, because familiarity breeds disrespect. When you start doing that, whatever you're supposed to get from them, or whatever season they are supposed to guide you through, you lose focus of it, because you start seeing the human aspect of them and losing focus on the reason why you are there. Even in marriages, I don't think people should get familiar. When you get familiar, that's where the problems start, because you start seeing their flaws. You start seeing their imperfections, and you start feeling that, okay, I won't even do that. I don't smell like that. I don't eat like that. I'm even better. Once you start thinking you're better than the person God has put in over your life, you start losing the blessing, and you will lose any other thing. So I don't get familiar with him. He's my dad. We talk literally every day, every second. We talk about things. He's not just my father because we call people, oh, father and mother. He's beyond that. He makes sure I'm in school. He makes sure that have your fees been paid or you need assistance. There are days where he actually paid my fees. He gives me money to eat. That is, I think God placed him there to replace that fatherly love I never had because I never had one. So when people are talking about fathers, it's weird to me, you know. But he has.
But you've got Pascal now.
Yes, and that means a lot.
I don't know if you're okay with me saying how old you are, but
I'm 26.
You're 26, and for me right now in this conversation, your depths and your maturity is way more than somebody who's 26, and perhaps it comes from
Life,
you know, life's lesson. You have really graduated the Life's University, and it shows in how you talk and your ideas and what you believe in.
Thank you.
But for young people who are watching you now who may not have had I don't want to say privilege because I don't want to exalt suffering, but who have not had the experience that you have been through, perhaps even your younger ones who may not have been through the spiritual journey in finding their purpose yet, what would you say to them?
I would say that the first thing you should do in life, as a guy, as a girl, any gender that you are, find purpose. It's the only time you feel fulfilled. It's the only time that money wouldn't matter to you again. Those big mansions wouldn't matter. I'm not saying they're not good, they are. They are. But once you find purpose and you're on that path, there's this fulfillment that comes with it. And it's not easy working on that path. The process is crazy. There are days when you just want to give up. There are days when you're frustrated. You're like, I can't do this again. It's all part of the process. Once you find your purpose, you are a solution to one entire generation.
Tell me you're not impressed by Blessed Fortune after listening to her the last few minutes. Now, we have a present for her, and if you can see on your screen at the moment, it's a basket full of Kelp products. We've got the Kelp Charcoal, Kelp 360, and Kelp Kits. And Bless, this is for you. It's already on the table, so I don't need to hand it over to you.
Thank you.
But I'll touch it.
Sure.
And I'm
Accept it.
Yes. And I'm so grateful that you came.
Thank you so much.
And I'm so glad we had this conversation. The next lady I'll be speaking to is the Southern Sector Coordinator for the Samara Brands, who are producers of Kel Toothpaste, our title sponsor here on the Kel Toothpaste PLShow. We'll be right back.
Brush, 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 brush your teeth. Brush, 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 2 times a day. Brush with Kel Kids.
Hello, my friends. My name is Kel Kids Toothpaste.
Wow.
I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger. Chicky, chicky, whiter. Chicky, chicky, stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Kel Kids. Happy smile.
You're welcome back to the Kel Toothpaste PL show. And my next guest is one of those who's making it possible for us to bring you the PL show. It's still Discovery of the Month, and she's one of those we want to spotlight today on this episode. So let's get right into meeting our guest. Her name is Roberta Ampedu, and she's the Southern Sector Coordinator for the Samara Brands, who are producers of Kel Toothpaste. Thank you so much for, first of all, making this possible, and then secondly, agreeing to share your story with us here on this episode of Kel Toothpaste PL show. Who is Roberta Ampedu?
Well, Roberta Ampedu is a simple person, calm, an introvert, but due to marketing doesn't allow me to be the cool type. So marketing has also helped me to come out as an open person because of the day-to-day activities and the people I meet from day to day.
How did you get into the business of marketing?
My dream actually was to be a pharmacist or a graphic designer. But due to one or two things, I entered into sales. So I joined companies which were sales companies. So I started as a sales rep. I worked with a lot of customers, and then I worked with a couple of companies. So due to the sales and marketing companies that I have joined, it made me tell myself that no, I can also be a marketer. I can also be a salesperson, and also be bold enough.
Talk to us about the schools you've been to and your journey through education.
I was in Debbie Avenue Roman Catholic School. That was my JHS, where I completed in 2001. And I joined Akim Sudo Secondary School from 2001 to 2004. And when I came out from secondary school, I couldn't further to the tertiary.
Why?
It was due to financial challenges. So I just had to, as a firstborn also of my family, I just had to work things out for myself. So that was where I had my first sales job in 2 years' time when I completed my secondary school. So it took me 10 years before I joined my tertiary, which was Accra Poly. It was then Accra Polytechnic. So I joined in 2015 and completed in 2017. So that was where I had my HND in marketing.
What was your mindset at that point when you were given the job of a salesperson, when you knew that I have absolutely no idea how to sell?
When I completed secondary school, we had a small provision shop. So I was there making the sales, and being in a provision shop, it's not like going out there to make sales. But then the few interactions I had with customers who come to buy and all that, some also try to convince me, some try to advise me to do something in terms of sales and all that. So I took it upon myself, said, let me try sales. I actually wanted a job, but then I also didn't really think I would enter sales, as in be at a sales company. I was still thinking of joining a graphic designing company to work with them and then further my education in the line of graphics. But it happened that due to what friends and customers, others come to the shop to tell me, I just said, oh, let me look for a job. So I told people I was looking for a job. I'm just a secondary school graduate. I have no background of sales and no qualifications. So I got this man to help me get this job. He gave me a number actually to call. So I tried calling the number, and then the manager asked me to come. It was a short interview, and I was told to come the next day. So the next day, I was a bit nervous. Starting work, how is it going to be like? I haven't been into sales before. I haven't even worked for a company before. So how is it going to be like? So I was like, well, let me just go and see how it looks like. And fairly, I went, and I had to join someone to town for sales. So I was being trained on the field for just a period of time. And then I was left on my own to also now go out there and bring in customers, make sales as well for the company.
How long has it been?
It's been over 12 years that I have experience in sales and marketing.
Was there ever a time when you thought you'd give up?
Yes, there has been. There was a time in one of my companies where I had a problem, which wasn't genuinely a problem of mine, but it was a colleague. And it became a police case. But fortunately, and God being so good, I was rescued out of it because I was innocent. So after that incident, I was really down. I got frustrated, and I feared moving on. I just wanted to go back to, say, my graphic design, where it wouldn't be like interaction with people and handling money and all that.
Right.
So it was my manager who just encouraged me to just do it. I shouldn't look at what had happened and just give up.
If you were to name top 3 skills that a marketer is required to have, based on your experience, what would you say those skills are?
Being competent, dedicated, hardworking as well.
So tell us about the regions or the areas that fall within, your jurisdiction as Southern Sector Coordinator.
When it comes to the Southern Sector, we have 5 regions under it, which is the Accra West, Greater Accra, we have the Accra West, we have the Accra Central, and then the Volta region, the Eastern region, and then the Western Central.
Now
Yes.
tell us your journey through Samara.
I joined Samara as an area manager for Sasso, Roma, and Feco Spray Starch. And I was heading the Accra West area. I was there for about 3 months and I was transferred to the Western Central region. So I was there for a year and some months and I was called to come and head as a coordinator for Kale Toothpaste.
What does your daily look like?
I have about 10 sales vans under my jurisdiction, and on daily basis we come to work. I make sure all our vans are packed with our products, and then we make sure the cars are also intact before they move to the market, as well as my staff, at least looking at toothpaste, it being an oral care, the personality as well too has to be presentable. So we look to all these things before each and every one goes to the market for sales.
What should we learn and know about Samara?
It's a sales and distribution company where we deal in products like insecticide spray and coil, which is Sasso spray and coil, as well as Roma mosquito spray and coil, and also Feco spray starch. And now we have the Kale toothpaste. When you talk of Kale toothpaste, we have the Kale charcoal toothpaste, we have the Kale 360, we have the Kale kits. Talking about the Kale charcoal, it whitens your teeth, it gives you fresh breath, and it's also anti-cavity. When you talk of Kale 360, that is with cool mint, so it freshens your breath, and it's also anti-cavity. Kale kits is a toothpaste for kids with ages between 2 to 6 years. It has a strawberry flavor. So when your kids use Kale kits, they will always love to brush their teeth.
How about pricing?
It's affordable in the market, because if it is not, we wouldn't be getting people calling and demanding for more.
Where can people purchase Kale toothpaste?
We have it in the open market, we have it in the supermarkets, we have it in the marts, the malls. Our distribution channel is all over the country. For bulk purchases, you can come to the office at Ajirigano, Samara Company. You can as well get our sales vans, which are all over the town. For the Southern Sector, if I should say, Kaishin, you can get some Madina Market, Carnation Market, Ashaiman Market, Tema Market, all the marketplaces you can get.
Thank you so much for your time here. But before I let you go, I know that you're a title sponsor here, but as we do every time, we present our guests with a basket of goodies from the Kale toothpaste brand, and would like to add on to what you already have. But I also have something special for you. This is yours, and this lovely PLShow mag is also yours. So take this mag home. Anytime you drink your coffee, remember the PLShow. I know we are always on your books, but here you go. You're welcome. You're welcome. And I'm so glad that you could make it here. Robbie Ampedu is wrapping up today's edition of the Kale Toothpaste PLShow. She joined us from Samara Company, where she's the Southern Sector Coordinator for the company. My name is Keminni Amanor, and am I glad that he joined us here this week. I'll see you another time. Goodbye.
Your love is sweet, pass sobolo, sobolo, your love is sweet, K-O-E-I, Wodona Kama commemorate, paint, smiling, mami, chanche, faint, kron kron vera, dio.